and welcome to Champions in Conversation. I'm Mona Charif, and in addition to leading marketing, communications, and corporate social responsibility, I am also the executive sponsor for the North America Women's Employee Resource Group, Women Inspire NTT Data, or WIN for short. I'm joined today by Brittany Lang. Brittany, you have won 2 championships. You have finished in the top 10 57 times. And this is my natural environment, but I was with you in your natural environment a couple of weeks ago with some of our clients and some of our partners. Yes. Learned a lot from you out on the course that day, and I hope to learn a lot from you here today. You've been playing since you were 8 years old?
Yes.
And I've been playing for 8 months.
So we're both equally as uncomfortable in each other's respective environment. Yes, it's great to be here with you today. Hopefully learn a lot from you.
Well, I feel the same way about you. So Brittany, let's start by talking about some maybe career highs and career lows. When I started my career, I was planning actually going into journalism, and I got a journalism degree. And when I graduated, I started my career in journalism. But I had made a commitment earlier in my life to a guy named Ross Perot. Did you ever hear about Ross?
I have, yes.
Okay. So I committed to him that I would work for his company at some point in my career. And even though I'd started out in journalism, I felt like I had to come through on that commitment. So I worked for EDS in a communications capacity, but I was surprised how much I loved IT services and how exciting it was to be in IT services. That's how I came into
That's very impressive for a female to be in the business like that. What was it that got you into that, being primarily male-dominated? What got you into the IT business?
I guess I didn't realize that it was male-dominated at the time. I mean, I realize it
That's
now,
a good answer.
looking back, but at the time it was just a really exciting industry and a really great space to be in. And I had made this commitment, so I was like, okay, I'll do it temporarily, but I didn't think I was going to do it for my entire career. And now here I am 30 years later. Now it kind of feels more like a career high because
yes.
I love what I'm doing and I love the people I'm doing it with.
That's impressive, and I love that you stuck to your commitment to Ross. That's a very cool story.
You don't live in Texas and not stick to your commitment to Ross Perot.
Amen.
What about you? What were some of your career highs, career lows? What was your career trajectory?
I have been so fortunate in my career. I started playing when I was 8, had a very supportive family. Went through the ranks, played junior golf, amateur golf, and had success, college golf at Duke. And my dream was always to be a professional golfer. From when I was 12, I only focused on golf. And I just, probably much like you, I saw myself being successful, which I'm sure you did, at golf. Like I saw myself doing that. And again, I've been so fortunate with a supportive family and just a nice life. And I was so fortunate to play on the tour, and it was a dream. It never felt like work. It was a dream. I loved it. I love golf, loved being out there, always had fun. And I'm very successful. I feel like, I always say, I feel like I underachieved because I feel like I wasn't as mentally strong as I could have been. But with that said, I'm very, very proud of my career.
Let me just make sure I understand. 2-time champion. You finished in the top 10 57 times, and you feel like you underachieved?
Yeah, it's funny. No, I'm very proud of my career. Winning the U.S. Open, I always thought I would win a U.S. Open, which that is the mountaintop for the LPGA, which I don't know what the mountaintop for you is in your career, but that is the mountaintop. And I always saw myself winning a U.S. Open, and I don't know, I just feel like nerves and mental game and stuff held me back a little bit, and I worked so diligently on it. And I played on 5 Solheim Cups representing my country, which I'm so proud of, and very thankful and proud of my career. But it does come to mind that I feel like things I may teach my daughter to be a little more confident with to help you achieve a little bit more in life.
Well, definitely corporate America also, very similar. Like our nerves and the negative talk that we give ourselves constantly is really what's holding us back so often. It's not a glass ceiling, it's sticky floors.
And you probably don't get the coaching that athletes get, right? On certain things like that?
I have to ask for coaching. When you ask for it, you get it, but no, it's not as constant. And
But it's something I worked out all the time. But again, very proud of my career. It was an awesome time. it was a dream, so I never felt like I was working, which I don't know if you feel like that.
I kind of feel like that today.
Like
I
it's a
finally
dream?
kind of feel like that. Like it's so much
Yeah,
fun that it
that's
doesn't
awesome.
feel like work.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about some of the coaching, some of the mentors you've had, some of the people that you've learned from. Tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, I had great parents, number one, just a great set of parents that let me learn to love golf. And I attribute still playing to this day at 37 to them, because you see a lot of parents just, they want their kids to play so bad and they want it and they do it. Whereas I feel like my parents allowed me to grow a love for the game, and I still love the game. And I'm thankful for them. But I had a lot of great people in my life. With regard to the LPGA, with mentors, I always looked up to Lorena Ochoa. She was a Mexican golfer and absolutely amazing.
How did she impact your career?
You know, I was first coming out on tour and she was kind of winning a lot. Like, I think she was winning 5 to 8 times during the year, which is insane. However, that's not the reason why I looked up to her so much. She was so kind to everybody, just a great person. So when I first came out on tour, I saw her, not only did I see her kicking everybody's butt, she was kind to everybody, and I just thought that was cool. And she was my role model, because I always wanted to take the time to talk to that little girl who was there wanting that autograph.
Yeah.
Not only give her your autograph, but what's your name? Do you play? You know,
encourage them.
I was that little girl, you know. Lorena was that little girl. You were that little girl, you know.
I agree. I think in corporate America, you have so many leaders and so many mentors, great leaders that you learn so much from, and you know, there's over a dozen that I attribute my growth in my career to, and then there are some who teach you things that you never want to emulate. I mean, to your point, like you learn the kindness, you learn, but you see the bad behavior and you say, okay, that's not behavior I ever want to emulate or
which is still growth and learning as well. Who impacted your career the most in your life?
There are so many people who impacted my career. I mean, I think of Gail Rigler, I think of John McGuire, I think of my current boss, Bob Pryor, who did coach and guide and mentor me and encourage me to do things that I was even uncomfortable doing.
Right.
And to your point about great coaches, I remember having just come, I was still on maternity leave when a guy named Chong Ung contacted me and said, "There's this great, you know, leadership opportunity. Do you want to take it?" The executive team told me to take your name off the list because you're still on maternity leave. But I was like,
no.
Yes, I want it. Thank you for the, and I, to this day, you know, thank him for doing that.
That's awesome.
He changed my life.
Yeah, that's a great story.
Let's talk a little bit about, I know you've talked publicly about the challenges you had bringing Shay into the world.
Yes.
And you delivered a child during COVID.
I did.
Talk a little bit about that experience and how you got through it.
Yeah, I mean, just like with any job or career, I have had highs and lows with regard to my golf game, but again, have been successful on the tour. I've been lucky that I haven't had a lot of challenges per se, but after I had Shay, I had experienced a little bit of postpartum with her, and I'm kind of an open book. I get things out there and honesty and talking, and I didn't really know what I was feeling. And again, kind of being a blessing having her during COVID, we got to be home, but Shay's pediatrician had me fill out a questionnaire, and when I filled it out honestly, of course, and she told me, you know, she goes, "You're not doing very well." And I said, "Yeah, I don't feel like I'm doing well." And that's when my husband was like, "Well, you didn't tell me anything about this," which I don't usually hold back telling him things, but I didn't really know how to communicate it with hormones going everywhere. And
completely understand.
it was quite awful. You know, like I said, I've been fortunate that I haven't had a lot of career lows, but that was probably some of the lowest points I've ever felt, because you have this happiness with your family, but
you're so happy to have that baby,
yes,
and then you don't know what you're feeling, and it's confusing.
Yes.
And well, good for you for
and
saying
I got
something.
help, and my mom
getting help.
She spoke to me about it, so I called my friends and my mom, and my husband helped once he realized the problem, and it was
well, and you're setting
really
an
great.
example also by talking about it and
Yes.
making sure that, you know, people who are going through it now.
Yes, I actually had a great recovery, and
great.
even though I had a C-section, great recovery and
Good.
stuff like that. But with COVID, they shut down the LPGA travel. So we got to be home with Shay, which was such a blessing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to power through to get back, maybe have an injury, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Or travel with her.
Yeah.
You know, then when we started traveling at 6 months, she was sleeping, I was healthy. So it was actually good for our
that's
family.
Good. And you're able to take her on the tour?
Yes. Yeah, they
great.
have a daycare and she comes with me every week.
Yeah, we didn't have a daycare when I had my kids over 20 years ago.
You sound like the LPGA ladies
they're
that I talked to.
like,
we didn't have
take
any
advantage
of,
of what we, you know, it's true. We didn't have a daycare. I didn't take maternity leave. I actually negotiated instead of the 6 weeks.
You probably could have taken maternity,
No, I could have.
right?
The company offered leave, but instead of the 6 weeks the company offered, I said, let me work from home for 8 weeks. Because at the time, we didn't have remote work.
Yeah.
And it was
like we do now.
It was like we do now.
Yeah.
Now everybody's very comfortable with it. But at the time,
Right.
over 20 years ago, it was unheard of in the company where I was.
Yeah.
So I negotiated this deal that I thought was a really great deal to not take mat leave and just to work through. I literally delivered on a Friday and was at my laptop on Monday morning.
That's not surprising.
And it's the worst thing you can possibly do. Like, I regret it now. I look back and think to my younger self, what were you thinking?
I know.
Don't do that
I
again.
have said that so many times with, you know, but when I got pregnant, after Shay and stuff, like, what were you doing? Why were you doing
Why
that?
did I do that to myself? Why did we do this to
we
ourselves?
we had our reasons then.
We had our reasons then. Very, very similar similarities.
A
between
lot of similarities.
Athletic champions and people who survived the corporate environment.
You wanted to get back? Yeah, absolutely.
That's right. That's right. I didn't want to miss a beat.
You don't.
I didn't want to miss a beat.
Well, I think that's what makes us successful, you know, in our own respect.
Yeah.
You don't want to miss a beat. You want to be a mom, you want to be successful, and you did it. You held your call, had your son, and got back.
Yeah, you get right back into it.
Yeah.
You're an athlete, you're in great condition, you're in great shape, you're still competitive. What do you do for fun, and what's your like guilty pleasure? Do you have a guilty pleasure?
You know, it's funny, being an athlete, traveling for so long, every day I wake up, practice, work out, I get off to a great day, and just taking like that little bit of time before I spend the day with Shay too, it just gets my brain moving, gets everything moving, and that's probably my biggest hobby. I don't have a ton of other hobbies. Spending time with my family, working out, and then trying to soak up as much time with Shay as I can.
Yeah.
Even though I'm exhausted at the end of the day.
Enjoy every second.
I want to pull my hair out sometimes.
Enjoy every second.
I'm trying to.
Before you know it, she's off to college and she's all grown up and they're out of the house.
I
and
could
you miss
cry
them.
when people tell me that. I'm like, no.
It's a blip. It's a blip.
I know.
It's a blink of an eye.
I'm trying to soak it up.
You also talked about your family and how close you are. What about the community? You like to do things in the community? Or?
Yes, I'm definitely a McKinney girl. I live right where I grew up. I love the area. I love everybody there. Yes, there's a charity called Smiles Charity who's a friend of ours. She's a local orthodontist and very successful woman in her own right in the community. And she started charity all by herself, where she builds one home a year for a wounded warrior, someone who served in the community. I love that she does that. She started herself. She's a very passionate, driven woman. And she holds a concert and raises money, and they build one home.
Is it country music?
Always.
Oh, such a Texan.
I'm such a Texan.
No, you weren't born here. You and I think both came to Texas as fast as we could. We were 10 years old.
That's right.
I came from the Middle East.
Cool.
You came from Virginia?
We met here, yeah.
Virginia, is that right?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, we met here.
We did.
We met here. We got here as fast as we could.
I love Texas. And also, my family and I, we've been heavily involved with the Collin County Children's Advocacy Center, local organization that helps abused or neglected children.
That's great.
And, you know, I always feel like we need to do more, but those have been two charities near and dear to our hearts.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, through NTT Data, we have a lot of partners through our corporate social responsibility partnerships. We have a lot in India. I visited one just a short time ago, like last month. I was out there visiting one of the India Institute of Sports, one of our partners there. Here locally, we've got the North Texas Food Bank as one of our big partners. And then for my family, we have a philanthropy actually back in Lebanon. It's called Safe Spaces Lebanon, and we do psychosocial support, remedial education, and support food insecurity for vulnerable communities. So kind of at work and at home and back home, it all comes together.
Very charitable. That's fantastic.
So Brittany, tell us what's next for you.
Yes, I'm very excited for my new life, as I call it. I'm going to still play on the LPGA Tour. Their family, it's still a dream. I love it. I'm going to play a limited schedule, probably a handful of tournaments this summer and the fall. Definitely play the U.S. Open at Pebble, which will be exciting. Take my family there, and
that's great.
Kind of a milestone vacation, and play.
So beautiful.
So beautiful. And then I'm also going to play a few Ohio events, maybe some up in New Jersey, and then definitely here in Texas at home in the fall, which I'm very excited about that. So I'm going to play a limited schedule. And then I also enjoy doing corporate outings.
Like the one we did
Correct,
a few
with
weeks ago.
NTT Data, yes.
Now for us, it was you, and then you brought 3 of your colleagues,
Yes.
other professional golfers, and we had 4 foursomes with key executives, and we also had
Yes.
some clients there and some partners there, and it was a great day. So
It was a great day.
If I need to be a reference for you, I'm happy to be a reference
That
for
would be
you.
great.
It was
Thank
it
you.
was a great day. We hope to make it an annual event. So
And they're always fun. You meet great people, you meet interesting people, you learn things, and people, they're interested in your world, you're interested in their world, and yeah, like you say, you just make it a great day on the beautiful
we had a
golf
lot of
course.
fun, and we learned a lot,
Yes.
and everyone really enjoyed it. What do you say to the little girls out on the course when they want your signature and they tell you they want to be a pro golfer? What do you say to them?
Well, I always learn their name in case I hear a cute name, and when I have a baby, I always ask for the name, but I always tell them to have fun and wear sunscreen and wear their sunglasses first. I always tell them that, but I just ask them if are you a good player? Are you having fun? Do you have friends out there? Like I ask them things my dad used to ask me, because I feel like my dad was so positive and fun. So I always ask them that and tell them I'll see you out here soon. You're going to be out here, lift them up.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's it is our responsibility to lift up the next generation.
And I didn't feel like I did a lot of that early in my career because I was wanting to be so good. But I feel like towards the end of my career, I calmed down a little bit and just paid more attention to that.
Early in our career, we're establishing ourselves.
Correct.
And then later in our career, it's our responsibility to establish the next generation.
So it's a natural progression. You're right.
It is. Like I feel like I've graduated nearly a dozen CMOs out of my organization. People who've gone on to be chief marketing officers.
That's impressive.
That's our responsibility.
But not everybody does it. I always try to say that, like to the little girls. They're like, "What's she gonna tell me? She can tell me to
wear sunscreen,
keep my head down, wear sunscreen, wear sunglasses, wear your hat, protect your
so
skin."
I need to add that because I tell the next generation, always worry about your reputation. Always be resilient, adaptable, learn, grow. You can learn from every experience, even the hard ones, even the bad ones, even the mistakes. That's when you learn the most. But I'm going to add, wear sunscreen. Always think you look good.
In the office?
Sunscreen is the first thing that goes on my face.
So pretty,
sunscreen is the first thing that goes on my face every day.
Good.
Even if I'm going into the office.
I tell these girls, I'm like, wear your sunscreen. If you're going to be a golfer, you're outside all day.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
Well, it's been, I could talk to you all day. It's been such a pleasure having you here in our environment.
It's great to be here.
I really enjoyed being out on the course with you and your colleagues a few weeks ago. I could talk to you all day. But
I wish you luck with your golf game.
Thank you. I need a lot of luck with my golf game.
We can work on it.
Okay, I hope so. Thank you, Brittany.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.